Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and current events from around the world. I'm your host, Walter, and we're glad you're joining us today. We're starting off with a story that's been making headlines in Eastern Europe. Former Romanian President Ion Iliescu has passed away at the age of 95, leaving behind a complex legacy that's still being debated by historians and politicians alike. Iliescu played a crucial role in Romania's transition from communism to democracy, serving as the country's first president after the fall of Nicolae Ceausescu's regime in 1989. He was a key figure in the National Salvation Front, a political organization that formed during the revolution, and later became the leader of the Social Democratic Party. However, Iliescu's presidency was also marked by controversy, including his handling of protests in 1990, which led to violent clashes between miners and anti-government demonstrators. The event, known as the Mineriads, resulted in dozens of injuries and several deaths, and has been widely criticized as a dark stain on Romania's transition to democracy. Despite these challenges, Iliescu is also credited with guiding Romania towards integration with NATO and the European Union, and implementing market reforms that allowed small businesses to thrive. His legacy is a reminder that the path to democracy is often complicated and messy, and that even well-intentioned leaders can make mistakes that have lasting consequences. As we reflect on Iliescu's life and legacy, it's clear that his impact on Romanian history will continue to be felt for generations to come. We'll be exploring more of this story and its implications in future episodes. But for now, let's take a closer look at the reactions from Romania and around the world. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into the complex world of international relations and trade agreements in our middle segment today. I'm your host, Walter, and we're exploring the intricacies of the US-India relationship, which has seen its fair share of ups and downs lately. The recent tensions between the two nations have been making headlines, with the US threatening to impose sanctions on India for purchasing Russian oil. This move has left many in New Delhi scratching their heads, wondering why they're being singled out when other countries like China and Turkey are also buying oil from Russia without facing similar consequences. To understand the context of this situation, let's take a step back. The US and India have historically enjoyed a strong strategic partnership, with both nations sharing common interests in the Indo-Pacific region. However, the current trade tensions have put a strain on this relationship, with India feeling that the US is not being a reliable partner. Experts argue that the US needs to take a more nuanced approach when dealing with India, recognizing the country's growing economic and strategic importance in the region. By doing so, the US can potentially reap benefits from a stronger partnership with India, including increased trade and cooperation on key issues like counter-terrorism and cybersecurity. On the other hand, some analysts believe that India needs to be more proactive in negotiating trade agreements with the US, rather than simply reacting to Washington's demands. By taking a more assertive stance, India can potentially secure better deals for its own economy and industries. As we navigate this complex web of international relations, it's essential to remember that there are no easy answers or quick fixes. Both nations have their own set of priorities and concerns, and finding common ground will require careful diplomacy and negotiation. One potential solution could be for the US and India to focus on areas of mutual interest, such as cooperation on emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and biotech. By working together in these areas, both nations can potentially create new opportunities for growth and development, while also strengthening their strategic partnership. As we move forward, it's crucial to keep a close eye on the developments in this story, as the outcome will have significant implications for the global economy and international relations. Will the US and India be able to find common ground and strengthen their partnership, or will the current tensions continue to escalate? Only time will tell. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block, folks. We've got a fascinating story to wrap up the show today, and it's all about the complex and often tumultuous relationship between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Rwanda and Congo? Isn't that just a whole lot of conflict and instability? And you're right, the region has faced its fair share of challenges over the years. But today, we're going to dive into a recent development that could potentially bring some much-needed peace and stability to the area. As you may have heard, Rwanda and Congo recently signed a peace agreement brokered by the United States. Now, this is a big deal, folks. Decades of fighting between the two nations have led to what the United Nations has called one of the most protracted, complex, serious humanitarian crises on Earth. But with this new agreement, there's hope that things might finally start to calm down. The agreement aims to address some of the underlying issues that have driven conflict in the region, including border disputes, resource extraction, and the presence of armed groups. And while it's still early days, there are signs that both countries are committed to making this work. But, as with any complex issue, there are also concerns about how this agreement will play out in practice. Some experts are warning that the deal could reward Rwanda's aggression, and that it may not do enough to address the root causes of the conflict. Others are concerned about the lack of transparency and accountability in the agreement. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, Walter, this all sounds very complicated. And you're right, it is. But here's the thing. Understanding these complex issues is crucial if we want to make informed decisions about how to engage with the world around us. So, what can we take away from this story? Well, for one, it's clear that the path to peace and stability in Rwanda and Congo will be long and difficult. But it's also clear that there are people on both sides who are committed to making this work. And with international support and pressure, maybe, just maybe, we'll see some real progress in the months and years to come. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay informed.